We begin in the United Kingdom, where Rishi Sunak faced another big test when he took part in his first Prime Minister's questions this lunchtime. His promise to place economic stability and confidence at the heart of his government's agenda and has brought back experienced ministers, including Dominic Raab and Michael Gove. A lot of names and job titles were mentioned yesterday. The positions Rishi Sunak has filled so far include the three great offices of state, with Jeremy Hunt as Chancellor, James Cleverly as Foreign Secretary, and Suella Braverman as Home Secretary. Others include Dominic Raab as Deputy Prime Minister and Justice Secretary, Ben Wallace as Defence Secretary, Steve Barclay as Health Secretary, and Oliver Dowden as Chancellor of the Duchy of Lancaster. Grant Shapps was appointed Business Secretary, Penny Mordaunt as Leader of the House of Commons and Lord President of the Council, Gillian Keegan as Education Secretary, and Nadim Zahawi as Conservative Party Chairman and Minister with that portfolio. Kemi Badenoch retained her post as Trade Secretary. Mel Stride is still Work and Pension Secretary, Michael Gove as Levelling Up Secretary, and Michelle Donilan as Culture Secretary among his 30 appointments. His most controversial appointment was probably the return of Suella Braverman as Home Secretary just 6 days after she was sacked for breaching the ministerial code. Now, the following report takes a look at Rishi Sunak's first day in office.
Rishi Sunak faced a big test as he answered questions by the Labour leader, Sir Keir Starmer, at the House of Commons. The new Prime Minister had already addressed the economic crisis in his first speech.
I fully appreciate how hard things are. And I understand too that I have work to do to restore trust after all that has happened. All I can say is that I am not daunted. I know the high office I have accepted, and I hope to live up to its demands. But when the opportunity to serve comes along, you cannot question the moment, only your willingness.
The Chancellor, Jeremy Hunt, also reiterated that the new government's #1 priority is economic stability.
Our #1 priority is economic stability and restoring confidence that the United Kingdom is a country that pays its way. And for that reason, the medium-term fiscal plan is extremely important, and I want to confirm that it will demonstrate debt falling over the medium term, which is very important for people to understand.
But this was not enough to deter the Labour leader, as Sir Starmer also questioned Mr. Sunak's pledge to protect the most vulnerable in society. The new Prime Minister replied, saying the government would always protect the most vulnerable, as it did during the COVID-19 pandemic. As the new Prime Minister hit the ground running on his first day, a procession of ministers, both new and old faces, arrived number 10 to find out their new jobs. His most controversial appointment has been Suella Braverman, appointed back as Home Secretary less than a week after being forced out for breaching the ministerial code. Sir Keir Starmer pressed Mr. Sunak on the reappointment of Suella Braverman as Home Secretary just 6 days after she resigned over data breaches, saying he had made a grubby deal with her. Prime Minister Sunak said that Ms. Braverman had made an error of judgment and he was delighted to have her back in cabinet. The Labour leader reiterated his call for a general election. Mr. Sunak responded by making reference to Sir Starmer's call for a second Brexit referendum. Ian Blackford, the Scottish National Party's leader at Westminster, asked the Prime Minister to guarantee that benefits would rise in line with inflation. Mr. Sunak said he had always acted in a way to protect the most vulnerable. He added that he looks forward to working together for the people of Scotland.
The party opposite.
And joining us on World Now to discuss the busy day at number 10 is a global affairs analyst, Kash Ononoju. Good to have you join us.
Thank you for having me.
So a lot of people have described this cabinet or his pick as members of his cabinet as some sort of government or a cabinet of continuity. When you look at the fact that some people from from the Liz Truss and Boris Johnson administration made their way back into the cabinet. And then, but others said it is a cabinet of revenge, considering those who did not get promotion and those who were also snubbed. But what does this cabinet tell you about the kind of government that Prime Minister Rishi Sunak is likely to run?
Well, you need to look at first why were the members of the 1922 committee very angry with Ms. Truss. She could not broaden her view in trying to bring in the very best. And that's exactly what Mr. Sunak has done, bringing in everybody, because currently the United Kingdom is challenged economically, and you could see the global rise in prices is being seen not just a European and an American problem, but a global problem in regards to people actually seeing the inevitability of recession. So you do not need to, in such a condition, restrain yourself to simply members of the faction from which you come from, and that is the faction from which Mr. Boris Johnson and Ms. Truss comes from. What Mr. Sunak has done is to be able to tell people that he will choose the best, no matter where they come from, no matter where, what committee or what faction that they belong to within the Conservative Party. I believe this is very good. You could see the arguments this morning where he was being blamed for bringing back Ms. Braverman. I believe
I will get to that point in just a moment, but I don't want to lose you said something quite interesting. You talked about the Conservative Party and how, of course, Liz Truss, one of the things she was criticized for is the fact that she only appointed those who worked with her while she was vying for that office as members of a cabinet. But do you think that Prime Minister Rishi Sunak is also being deliberate in terms of picking people from his predecessors, just so in terms of just uniting the Conservative Party?
Last time when she had about 57% of the votes, that meant the party was still divided. If she had moved on to take people from all factions of the Conservative Party, we would not be here. She would have been able to have access to quality persons who can come on board. What we're looking for right now is, like Mr. Sunak said this morning, that he will get the best, that he will actually not let down the markets. And you can see how very optimistic the markets are the minute he came on board. They know well that he will be able to take a broad-based team of all champions, no matter where they come from, to be able to tackle the current economic crisis that the United Kingdom seems to be finding itself in. So I think Mr. Sunak has actually started very well, but let's then see how the policies are attacked, because these are very difficult and interesting times, not only in Europe, but very much in the United Kingdom.
All right, I wish we could talk about that statement made by the leader of the Labour Party, Keir Starmer, criticizing the Prime Minister for bringing back Suella Braverman, but I'm told my time is up. Thank you so much for talking to us. Global Affairs Analyst Kash Ononuju.
Thank you for having me.